I am Jim Urbina, and I welcome you to the new and improved aerial tour of Loblolly. Hole number 1, a mid-length par 4 that eases you into the round with the wind usually at your back and to this slight dogleg left hole. The green was expanded out to its original size and shape. The pot bunkers were reshaped and zoysia grass added to the grass faces as once envisioned by the dies. The fairways are now grassed in Bimini Bermuda and new Tifeagle Bermuda on the greens. Hole number 2. This par 3 second hole is a 2-tier green that is played from an elevated tee. The green side bunkers were reshaped with zoysia grass faces, as originally intended, with no sand splash on them. The crown of the green was softened ever so slightly just behind the left green side bunker, with the rest of the green playing as usual. The background of the hole had some of the vegetation thinned out to improve view corridors and airflow. The bunkers were restored to a 2-tier layout as depicted in opening day 1988 photos, eliminating the island green defect. Hole number 3. This par 4 requires a well-struck ball to be placed in the fairway. The green was resurfaced and expanded out to the left to its original intent. The simplicity of the green will test your putting skills. At 466 yards, this hole will still be your number 1 handicap hole, but the green surface is more generous today. Mounding along the left edge was reshaped to hide the cart path so that the golf hole is now your focal point. Driving as close to the extreme elevated green a must, leaving yourself with a short wedge shot. This will make this hole seem manageable. A par will feel like a sense of accomplishment. Hole number 4. This mid-length par 4 requires you to play left of the deep right fairway bunker. The fairway bunkers were reshaped and smoothed out for nice grass-faced slopes, and the areas around the greens were improved to help recovery shots for most players. The green was expanded out to the edges of the landform, and the back left pinning locations were improved. Vegetation was thinned out to improve airflow and not compromise a distant view. A classic die hole requiring you to place your tee shot squarely in the middle of the fairway to avoid right and left greenside bunkers on your second shot. Hole number 5. This long par 4 with a very pronounced fairway undulation is still intact. The green is flanked by menacing bunkers. The right side of the trio of bunkers next to the cart path were filled in, as they were back in the late 1980s. The green was expanded out to the right and back as part of the restoration of the putting surface. A run-up shot is not out of the question. A true links player could use the left sloping fairway contour to their advantage to feed the ball onto the green. The mounding between holes number 5 and 6 were reshaped and regrassed as depicted in old 1988 aerials. The first of the par 5s on the front 9 require you to play along a plateau fairway that is dangerously close to a long fairway bunker running the entire length of the hole. This is a classic heroic hole that Pete and PB Dye are constantly asking you to make. The green was restored to as close as the photos portrayed, and the large green side bunker was restored. This was meant to be a true 3-shot hole for most players. Going for the green in 2, and you must contend with the restored long green side bunker on the right. Hole number 7. One of the longest one-shot holes on the front 9 requires a carry over water to one of the more subtle greens on the golf course. Water in front and bunkers behind the green will swallow up a shot not well played. We restored greenside bunkers and expanded the green surface. The bulkheading was redone on this hole and the fairway expanded and views to the green were restored. One of the most secluded holes on the golf course. A view from the tee makes it feel like you're in paradise. Hole number 8. The second of the par 5s requires a well-placed tee shot to the generous fairway with subtle contours. We restored the fairway bunker along the lake's edge on your second shot, as well as expanding the upper pinning locations. The green will feel more generous on your walk-up, but the two-tier green will still challenge your putting skills. Restored green side, front, right, and behind the green bunkers will catch errant shots. Bunker recovery can be difficult. Place short of the green to ease the fear of the troubles that await you, encircling most of the putting surface. New bulkheading and water socks were added onto either side of the lake to accent the water's edge. Par is a good score here. Hole number 9. The par 4, 440-yard hole plays into the wind on most days. Lay back in the fairway to have the best view of the green. Drive it too far and your second shot leaves you in a bowl, looking up to an elevated green on your second shot. The tees were lowered to improve sight lines and elevation changes. The Big Bertha bunker is now visible from the tee. The green was restored on this hole to its original size and shape, and the left greenside pump bunker restored. The slope of the green was also restored and the short right pot bunker recreated. In true dive fashion, the inward 9 finishing hole does not let you rest on your laurels. Hole number 10, the shortest one-shot hole at Loblolly. The elevated tee was enlarged but still gives you the same downhill tee shot feel. A new walk-up area and elevated tee will enhance the sense of the elevation change on this very unique one-shot hole, which usually plays into the prevailing wind off the ocean. The back slope of the tee gives you a sense of isolation from the new and improved halfway house. Underbrush was cleaned out and distant views were improved. Hole number 11. This medium-length par 4 will feel like the same hole. The tees were lowered back down to their original grade to ease the walkability from number 10 green over to 11 tee. The long and narrow green was resurfaced and enlarged in the front 1/3 of the green. This leaves you with an opening to the green on your second shot. Play out to the right of this fairway and you must contend with the narrowness of the green. This flattish green allows most balls to release to the back of the hole, if not well struck, and can easily roll off the surface if the golfer is too aggressive. Roll-offs, both left and right, collect into a tight mowed surface, making recoveries easier with a wedge or putter. Background vegetation was thinned out to improve distant views and help with the depth of scale. Hole number 12. The first of the 2 par 5s on the back 9 must contend with prevailing wind. The length of this hole challenges even the most seasoned golfer, which must contend with a forced carry over water. The green was restored to original size and shape, as depicted in 1988 photos. The die design on this hole was restored to its fullest intent. This flattish green allows most balls to release to the back of the hole, if not well struck, and can easily roll off the surface if the golfer is too aggressive. Roll-offs, both left and right, collect into a tight mowed surface, making recoveries easier with a wedge or putter. Background vegetation was thinned out to improve distant views and help with the depth of scale. Hole number 13. This par 4 measures only 263 yards from the back tee. The tees were lowered to improve sight lines and walkability. This hole is drivable, but you must contend with deep grass bunkers and a deep sand bunker on the right side of the green. Out of bounds is also a possibility on this hole. The green was resurfaced and expanded, but the remainder of the hole was left unchanged. Hand thinning of the vegetation surrounding this hole was done to improve views and to tempt you. A birdie is still possible, but a bogey is not out of the question. Hole number 14. The members play this hole from 330 yards, but if the tee shot is not well placed on the right side of the fairway, you may leave yourself with a blind second shot. The green was restored back to its original boomerang shape with the lion's mouth bunker prominently placed in front of the green. The green side bunkers were restored and the area raised up to prevent future flooding. Walkways were installed between the green and the next tee to make the walk easier. This is one of my favorite holes at Loblolly. I hope you enjoy the new, old 14th green and green surrounds. The recovery shots around this hole are still at a premium. Hole number 15. This elevated tee looks down over an expansive fairway that slopes from left to right. Challenge the left fairway bunkers to keep the ball from rolling out into the lower fairway. The upper fairway allows for the best views of the green. The putting surface was expanded back right and left, and the approach softened. The view was also improved from the tee, as it becomes one of the most spectacular distant views of the 16th hole and Calamity Jane. It's laid out all in front of you. Hole number 16. This green is one of the most spectacular greens in Florida, patterned after Calamity Jane at Royal Portrush. 20-foot deep bunkers on the right and grass roll-offs on the left make it a very difficult hole. The green was expanded out to its original size and shape, and the cart path removed for playability's sake. The tees were enlarged and the angles improved. A par is like a birdie here. Take it and move on to the next hole. Cart path pavers were removed to improve the aesthetic view of this green, a hole you will never forget. Hole number 17. The longest hole at Loblolly requires 3 exacting shots to reach the green, with water all along the right side to keep you honest. The green was restored back to its original size and shape, giving the members a true left-right-left experience. The right fairway bunkers close to the green were also restored, completing the angles that Pete and PB Dye were so famous for. Going for the green in 2 will challenge even the best ball strikers. Tees were redone, allowing the blue and white tee players a chance to use the lower tee and challenge the left fairway bunker if possible. A birdie on this hole will be at a premium. New lake liners, sand socks, and bulkheading were added to holes number 17 and 18, complementing the angles and sharp design lines once envisioned by the golf architect. Hole number 18. The beauty of Loblolly shows itself with this elevated tee shot down to an expansive fairway bordered on the right side by water. Bulkheading was added to sharpen the lines. This cape-looking hole is the classic S-hole design, with Pete and PB Dye turning the fairway from left to right and then back right to left. The bunkers were restored all around the 18th green, and the approach widened for players who like to play the bump-and-run shot. It is a true test for a finishing hole, and one that reminds you that you are somewhere special. The tees were combined to ease the walk, and the distant views were softened to accent the view from the tee. Playing golf at Loblolly will surely test your skills. The walk will remind you of playing somewhere different, with surprising topography seldom found in a coastal setting. Our hope is that the new Loblolly will give you that experience that captures the essence of this design as it was intended back opening day 1988 by both the Sullivans and the Dyes. The Greens Committee and the golf staff, especially Cody Boutte, should be congratulated on all of their efforts to bring back the beauty and charm of Loblolly that will last for years to come. Welcome back to Loblolly.